see people like, you know, you've alluded to it several times tonight, but the people who are addicted to being angry online,
Addicted to being angry.
that there
Shut
was
the
this whole
fuck
thing
up,
about
Newman.
like,
This
oh,
guy's a
Kevin
fucking
killed
prick. I
Orko
hate
because
this whole aesthetic. I hate his voice. I hate his attitude. I hate the way he's just this, shill hype man for Kevin Smith, who's the biggest shill hype man for any Hollywood property these days. Griffin Newman reminds me of the meme, the guy who's bit by a zombie but doesn't tell anyone. It goes further than that, though. He's the guy, he's the boyfriend of the main character who discovers that there's some kind of zombie apocalypse on the way. And she's trying to get more information on it. And her boyfriend, this guy, is constantly gaslighting her and telling her, no, 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 there's nothing to do with it. That's not happening. And come to find out that he actually secretly works for the laboratory that's created the virus that's going to create the zombie apocalypse, or that's already started it. And then when he gets bit and everybody finds out, he starts accusing the girlfriend of never loving him, never trusting him, and he's always resented her. Always mad online. Fuck off.
hates Orko and he wants to punish the Orko fans. And it's like, no, the idea was to make Orko mean something.
Orko's already
And
meant something to fans.
also,
I don't understand that phrasing.
especially in sci-fi and fantasy, if a character is dead, they are dead forever, and there is no way they can ever come back.
Why is he freezing like it's the end of a sitcom? Reaction?
I honestly take this very seriously as the final time we will ever see Orko.
Shut the
That's the
fuck
one
up.
that I honestly, I can kind of get when people are like, oh, I wanted like more He-Man in this show. And
What the fuck do you mean you could kind of get?
Say like, oh, just fucking wait.
Right.
What the fuck? Okay, so He-Man was made for boys. After a little while, She-Ra came out, to give girls their own version of He-Man and to make more toys. She-Ra gets rebooted recently for Netflix. A lot of people complain. I kind of stayed out of it. I didn't care. But a lot of people complained because, it's a big SJW fest. They were all lesbians. They were all made to look unattractive. They were all dressed in a way that you couldn't sexualize them or whatever. And so it came out, I think it lasted, 3 seasons, and it's gone. Now He-Man gets its latest reboot. This prick, Kevin Smith, I don't know why he is not even a fan. And you don't have to be a fan of a property to do it justice. But if you're not a fan, I don't understand why they went to Kevin Smith. I don't know. But so it's time to revive or reboot He-Man. And instead of just giving He-Man, which was the show for boys, fucking He-Man, they give you Teela instead. Now, if fucking She-Ra came out like that, and what was that dude, the little guy, I was going to say something awful about him, but it was a little dude that she was always hanging out with. And She-Ra, there was that guy, little pretty boy guy. He looks like he was a cast member of Boogie Nights. That guy. If they made the show about She-Ra dying in the first fucking episode, and then having her little love interest dude take over and spend the whole time bitching and moaning about the fact that he didn't know she was actually She-Ra all this time. Imagine the reaction to that. How the fuck would people react to that? And I'm not talking about not just fans of She-Ra, forget them. How would how would Twitter and all its non-fans who always have a comment and opinion about this shit, how would they react? They would be fucking pissed. How can you sideline the strong female character? It's called She-Ra. How can you sideline her and then put this man and make it his story? And he doesn't even respect her. Instead, they don't do that. They just go extra SJW. They make him unattractive, like I said. They turn him all gay, whatever. But then when it's time for He-Man to have his show, he literally gets sidelined and then shit on. And then a lot of the male characters get killed and shit on and dismissed.
Like episode Should I? Fucking why not?
You can just say episode 6 goes hard.
Episode 6, at the end of episode 6, we do something that they've never done in the franchise before.
You're gonna get more He-Man than you
beatbox.
think you wanted.
And like episode 7.
Okay, so the thing about
no
this,
bullshit.
you know, I've seen this now like 40 something times. I've been trying to record my reaction to this since Sunday. I downloaded it. I actually got the idea from Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I got the idea from him when he first was talking about this. I think it was like Saturday night. He was talking about how he was going to download it because they had turned off the chat. And, you know, the way that Smith and his little Flavor Flav goofball friend over here, Newman, have been acting, he was figuring that they was just going to delete it or block it or do something to it. Doesn't look like they did that. When I went to download it the other day, I saw a replay of the chat. And it was funny to me because the moderator was like, "You better stop complaining. I'm going to disable the chat." The people just kept complaining and talking shit. They didn't care. So he disabled the chat. So anyway, I'm saying all of this to say, I've seen this a million times. So here at this point, he's talking about this idea that you're upset that He-Man was killed in the first episode, and then we bring him back in the 5th episode, and it looks like he's killed again. Now, he was already bragging about him being killed twice. So he's like, there's not enough He-Man in the show. People are complaining about that. Now, he's basically saying, just wait and give it a chance. Like, see the whole story play out before you make up your mind. But already it's too late for people to give a shit about that. You know, I don't know if they could really see, they can save it with the next 5 episodes, because he's already framed this show as Teela's show. When He-Man is killed and they find out that actually He-Man was also Prince Adam, her concern isn't, my friend is dead. Her concern is, you're all a pack of liars, and so is Adam. And her voice, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, I love her as Buffy, but her voice is not suitable for Teela. She sounds like an old Karen. You know, she sounds like she's really complaining about a black woman filming her while she has a freak out. She's having this fucking freak out over not knowing Adam was He-Man. And instead of her going, wow, he was so selfless. He didn't use it to brag. He didn't use it to get in my ass. You know, he just quietly trusted or entrusted only a few people. My dad, Duncan, and maybe the mom knew, or the mom figured it out. Only trusted a few people with this heavy burden. And instead of just being like, oh, I wish he would have told me, maybe I could have helped to protect them or something, her whole attitude is, you're all liars. And she's screaming at the mom and dad whose son, they just realized, is fucking dead. And it's about her. And that's always been the problem with these SJW stories where they have the woman as the lead. They're sociopathic because it's this thing where they don't want to bring up, you know, they always say feminism is for men and women. Twitter, they say that a lot. They always go, you know, you can try to dismiss feminism, but we're also trying to help you men too. If that's the case, why is it that every time they make a show or a movie, the woman is always shitting on the male character? It's always about how the man has always been in their way, and with them out of the way, they can just truly shine. They're not supporting the men. It's not equal. I said this before in another video. It's all about turning the tables on it. It's like, we're in charge now. Get out of the way. So to have Teela, who's best friends, very close friends with Adam, probably in love with Adam or in love with He-Man, for her to say, you lied to me, you're all a pack of liars, and he's dead, I don't give a shit about him being dead, I don't want to be man at arms. Like, why have this position? Why have this responsibility? If as soon as there's, and the thing is, like I said, it wasn't even a big problem, but it's a big problem, this poor guy's dead. But her reaction to it isn't, oh my god, he's dead, I've lost my friend, I love this guy, you know, if there's any way we can bring him back. No, her response is, you're all a bunch of liars, I'm no longer a part of this, I'm leaving, I'm gonna go be a lesbian, off in the woods somewhere, and they think that that's fine. They think that this is an appropriate reaction for a strong female character to have. Like, the whole thing is that for a woman to be powerful in SJW's mind, she also has to look like a man. They're insane. Like, they don't. I remember back in the day when people would complain about, like, even Terminator 2. They would say, yeah, it's cool, she's buffed up, but why is it that she has to be buffed up in order to be strong? Women could be physically not strong, but still be strong characters. They could be tough. They can be clever. They can be slick. They could find ways to defeat the enemy without being these big, bruisey He-Men or whatever. One of the times that I tried to record this, I accidentally called Tila Hila. And, that might be appropriate.
And, I know I'm going to say this, and then a very, very vocal contingency of the internet is going to say I'm lying or something
Apologize!
like that.
Shut the
I'm
fuck up,
baiting and
Newman.
switching or something like that, but I promise you, on my child's life, in episode 7, there is a Skeletor and spoilers, He-Man fight that tops anything. That's one of the most brutal fucking fights I've seen. The only brutal fight
He-Man will probably lose the fight, which will
was
then
Invincible when he
have
fucking held his kid through the trains and shit. Which, to be fair, was good parenting. But but very brutal, very bloody and stuff. We don't, ours doesn't take it to that place. But between these two,
like I said, He-Man is probably going to lose that fight, die again. Tila's going to be sorceress, become sorceress. She's going to revive him, but he's not going to be able to wield the sword. So Tila, or Tila's girlfriend, is probably going to be the one to wield it.
So we wrote about, like, they fight. Pat and Adam did this brilliant fucking sequence that goes on for 7 minutes where they just beat the shit out of each other in, like, insanely entertaining ways, using magic, using fucking bear fists and shit. At one point,
they grab fists off of bears and use them to.
At one point,
he's like the weasel version of Elijah
of He-Man, the
Wood.
original first drawing.
Is it Woods or Woods? I
Got,
don't even know
an
right now.
axe and a fucking shield, and he looks very Conan-like. The character was very much derived from Conan.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the Toys That Made Us Masters of the Universe episode, but they were going to make Conan toys, and then they saw Conan, and they're like, there's fucking movies in this.
I like
So
he's
they
trying to
decided
give us the
make
history
something a
of
little
how
more
He-Man
different.
was made to
And that's
show
what
that
Masters
he's
of
just
the
very
Universe
knowledgeable
did.
about it.
So
But
there's,
him not being a fan isn't a big
there's
deal unless he
the
doesn't
image
actively
that they
like the
first
fucking
drew of
show
the character.
or like the character
Like,
and
we
used
get
it as
to
an excuse to just
we
prop
try,
up Tila
like, we
for some
just, That's
reason.
why, like, when people are like, you're not a He-Man fan, I'm like, yeah, right.
Cuts are so goddamn deep.
See
in
how
that show
that's
that
what I
it's
mean.
like,
He keeps throwing
I
out
would
this
say it's as
chaff.
non-antagonistically as
by-
possible.
Yeah.
People
Fuck
can
off.
dislike the show. That is
But-
obviously
but-
a legal
but-
opinion.
Oh
for,
my god! As
for
the
the
guy
time
who
being,
made fucking yoga hosers, I'm
Right.
used to that.
people are
Like,
allowed to dislike
I
it.
have no problem with people being like,
Right.
"You suck and this fucking sucks." That's
Right.
fun.
But like the thing,
It's such a gaslighting-
It goes hard.
gaslighting?
Yeah, I think
What
was
did I just
gonna
say?
Like,
Gaslighting
The Tick
way.
was a show that got canceled prematurely.
Okay, I don't give a
right?
shit about
Did
the
it?
Tick.
Unfortunately, yeah. If you
What
ask
was the
me,
season?
I didn't get to buy a beach house, so yeah, that's premature. I'm just kidding. I hate the beach. You feel like, well, I wasted all this time getting into something.
Now I get again. Excuse me. I get what the idea of, well, just wait. So wait and see what we're gonna do. But it's too late. I might have already said this. It's too late at this point. The way you frame the show, it's Tila's show. So whatever you've done by the cliffhanger, you've killed or mortally wounded or seriously injured Adam at the end of the 5th episode. So now we're gonna have to wait for the next 5 episodes to come out to see if they're gonna now give us more He-Man or if they're gonna just still find a way for Tila's girlfriend to rise up, an evil Lynn of them to rise above everything. That's probably all it's going to be. I mean, at the end of it, He-Man probably will be restored, but it'll be just at the end. Like, everybody will be defeated, and Hela will use her sorceress powers to bring He-Man back finally. But it's always understood that the true power is Hela or Tila.
Not that it's wasting time. The first 2 seasons of The Tick are very excellent. You should watch them, please.
This must be like I don't
There's
know,
that kind of thing. And
early
a thing that
2000s or late
I've
2000s
been
show.
trying
I
to
don't
communicate as
know
much as
much about the
possible
tip.
anytime I have a microphone in front of my stupid face, is that 10 episodes were written all at once. Netflix has chosen to release them in 2 batches. This isn't a thing where it's like, well, we hope you get a second
our
season.
show. I thought we were talking about.
Yeah,
No,
he's not
yeah,
listening to you,
Revelation.
dude. You're not listening
Right.
to this guy.
That 5 are done.
Right.
Bear just finished the score for episode 10 with his live orchestra and stuff, and it sounds fucking astounding. Now that his score is done, we're finished.
But, like-
Pat and Adam have sent in every fucking shot. It's
Yeah.
locked, so it's finished. I know some people online are like, "You ain't coming back. This shit's getting
It's
canceled,"
done.
and I'm
It's like in the can.
"Yeah,
Right.
it can't not come out."
Right, and not
Like,
only that, it was
You're just not gonna get a
all
second
written
season.
at
One
the
big
same
story,
time.
yeah.
Right, and it's like a story that certainly leaves the door open for more adventures. But
Nobody
I
wants any
also
more
think
adventures of
it's a
Tila.
satisfying
The
story.
fuck?
in
a
relationship
in a
to
perfect
itself.
world, they would have released all 10. I ain't bitching. I'm happy
Yeah.
they released them the way they did, especially because 5 is such a great cliffhanger. But in a perfect world, they would have released all 10. And I'm not saying that would have assuaged everybody. There would definitely be some people that are still
First
like,
5
you
episodes,
fucking suck.
you're kind of clicking up the roller coaster.
But
Last 5
if we
year,
had done all
yeah.
5, then the thing that everyone's crying about the most,
Crying
like,
about.
where the fuck is, like,
It's fucking Masters of the Universe. It's fucking He-Man show. He-Man was made for boys. They've literally
in
sidelined
some ways,
the
it just feels
motherfucker
like some of these
for
people
Tila.
have never seen a TV program or a movie
Yes.
ever.
Well, this is the
Because
thing. Yes.
the idea of like of Orko.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to telegraph anything.
Yeah.
But just bear with me, kids. If you watch that episode 4 with Orko, and we see what Orko does and stuff, it is very close to another magic figure in fiction who also gives his life in a very important moment in the story.
In a much
Orko
better
literally
story.
says the same line, go back to your shadows.
In a much better story.
Anybody
Don't give
know
us
what
that.
character that is? Absolutely.
Interesting. And he stayed dead forever,
Yes,
right?
because once Gandalf died, that shit was
That
over.
was done.
Look,
So anybody like
listen. Nobody gives 2 shits who you stole from to make this shitty fucking show. Nobody's sitting there going, they don't even appreciate it at this point. Nobody's going, ah, yes, I see. Kevin Smith has decided to use Gandalf's extraordinary sacrifice in The Lord of the Rings to show us that it's possible for a magician, a wizard, to die and yet return. I am excited to see what happens next. At this point in the fucking show, you've already killed Mr. Roboto, or have they? See, the thing is, I haven't even watched the goddamn show. I'm listening. As soon as I saw Tila, I was like, I'm out. I don't give a shit. I'm not the big misandrist. I mean, people can tell you, my brother can tell you in particular, I love female leads. I love strong female leads. But I also like aesthetically beautiful, strong female leads. They don't have to be super idealized either. They can just be cute. That's fine with me. I don't want them simply creating these women to look like men, because I mean, it's insane. It's silly to even say it when you think about it, that feminists don't believe women are strong unless they have the bodies of men. Like I said, I think it's tied into a lot of different things. For one, they give them masculine features and body types because they don't want men getting off on them being attractive. They just resent dudes liking hot women. That's one of it. And another, they want to pretend that there's no difference between genders, and they want to protect trans women. So for some reason, they think if they just make actual physically biological women look like biological men, that somehow protects trans women, when a lot of trans women look fucking more feminine, like traditionally feminine, than a lot of women do. So you're not protecting trans women. A lot of trans women just want to look like the traditional curvy woman. It's more like a game to protect a couple of non-super femme-looking ones or something. So to say all of this, to act like, and that's another thing, because he's like, oh, I don't know how people, like, they've never seen a television show before, or they're not patient enough to see it through. But like I said, we already know, we've seen this movie, we've seen this several times now in this day and age. the way it goes. You kill the male character in the beginning. You put the woman in charge, and she's angry and bitter. And for some reason, it's not enough to kill the hero. You have to then shit on his legacy for some reason. He was actually a bad person, and you have to somehow make a tone for him with other women. And let's continue before I get really pissed off.
I can't. Like, there's a guy who's just like, you're a fucking like terrible storyteller because you killed off Orko forever, and I'm like, forever, bro? Have you ever seen one of these fucking things?
Yeah, what are you
like,
talking about?
Oh my god! I just and even within the first 5 episodes, someone dies. 2 people fucking die.
Yeah.
They come back. Even the tree guy fucking comes back. Like, so at that point,
I don't
like, are
know.
you
Does
fucking
Mothman come back?
serious?
Because like I
Are
said, I
you
did watch
denying
it because
reality?
as soon as I saw
do you
Tila.
think here even better?
Yes.
Do you think Mattel? I'd walk in. I was like, you know what I want to do? Kill Orko.
Yeah. Done. Money.
Yeah. Do you know what they would do? There's the door. Silent Bill. You know, like. And again, people are like, "Oh man, this is the fucking Tila show and stuff." Like, yes, as I said from the beginning, Tila plays a very prominent part in this stuff. And if you follow closely and read between the lines, you see where we're going with it. We're continuing with the classic story that they began.
You're not, because Tila didn't act like that in the beginning. Tila's quest, all that stuff, she was very sweet,
If I can
very
drop
loyal.
some fucking receipts
Episode
here.
6 of
Original
He-Man and the
Filmation.
Masters of the
Correct.
Universe. Yeah.
It's called Tila's Quest.
What happens in that episode? Written by Paul Dini. What happens in
that episode? 6 out of fucking 200. I mean, they made so many episodes of that show within 2 years, right?
Yeah.
6 front loaded. The very beginning of the thing is about Tila's backstory and her destiny.
What does this
which
have
is
to do with her acting like a
adopted
fucking
and
cunt?
Not her biological
on
father.
the show?
I'm talking about a thing that happens
I know, but
in
if we're
that
fucking sequelizing,
filmation.
shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying.
But in any event,
No,
what
but
he's
I'm
saying and
saying
what
this-
he's oversaying and getting us in fucking
I'm
trouble
saying to your
is.
defense is you're not pulling this out of your ass. That's been there for 40
his
years.
point is that like we didn't fucking create anything new. One of the things that.
But that's not the
we did was,
issue.
like,
Nobody has a
let's
concern with
find
that.
The most interesting storyline, and this storyline is interesting.
It was there the
tied
whole
into the
time.
storyline we wanted to
it's
do,
been
which is
on the
hold the
table.
fuck on or go fuck. It's annoying as your fucking character.
Yeah,
What
shut
we
the
were
fuck
trying
up,
to do,
Newman.
of course, was the key to telling an extended He-Man story. We were
But Kevin Smith just tried to
He-Man
gaslight on this.
episodics like they did with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. You know, everything just resets at the end of the episode. Obviously, we're telling one long episode that's chopped into story, chopped into chapters.
This doesn't mean
The key
anything.
to
This
the
is
story
chaff.
Is basically it's keep away. You have to keep away with the sword. Like whoever gets the
No,
fucking
you
sword
don't
becomes
fucking
the
have to
master
keep
of the
away
universe.
bullshit.
So in order to make an interesting story, the first thing you do is take the most powerful man in the universe and try to fucking keep the sword away from him. How
No,
we
and
do it in
shit on
episode
him.
1 is he gives his fucking life. He sacrifices his life. Now, you know, I've been accused of lying for saying that that I'm like He-Man does no stepping aside.
Okay, here comes the
If
super
He-Man
gaslighting
giving his
bullshit.
life for the entire universe is stepping aside, then Tony Stark stepped aside. Jesus Christ stepped aside. Like, it's a messianic moment, and it's
Okay, so the first time I recorded this was on Sunday. It was a disaster because it kept messing up. You know, all of a sudden I get bilious when I start trying to record, so I had to cut things out when I'm coughing too much or whatever. I kept saying at around this point, after I did everything, I edited it up, cut it, and cut a lot of the coughing, whatever, out, and it took forever to upload it because I didn't think about using Ethernet like a moron. I didn't think about that. My brother was like, "You should just use an Ethernet." I'm like, "Oh," but anyway, so it took me all day to process it after I recorded it for hours and edited it up, put it up, and right before it, posted or whatever, I realized that Clownfish, when their first tweet said He-Man steps aside so that Tila and her girlfriend can save the day or whatever. So here he keeps saying, if stepping aside is, if He-Man stepping aside, is him saving the universe or whatever, sacrificing himself to save the universe and stepping aside. And I kept saying, they didn't say step aside, they said sidelined. So I was saying that the entire time I was going through it. So after everything I did, I had to destroy it because I was like, I'm not going to put a little note saying, he's arguing semantics. He's arguing semantics, but unfortunately, Clownfish said, "Step aside." Like it's as if He-Man said, "You know what? Damn, Tila, they hitting hard out here. I can't do it. You know, you got swole. You and your new girlfriend, y'all can handle this for me, because I can't do it. I'm not He-Man no more. You know, I ain't got that no more. So y'all got to do it." So it sounds like that's what basically they were saying. So he's using this. Oh, but he sacrificed himself. What about Iron Man? Did anyone say Iron Man stepped aside to allow anyone else when he sacrificed himself? But that was the end of the fucking story. He did. Iron Man didn't fucking say, "I am Iron Man" in his first fucking movie. He saved everybody, and that's pretty much the end of the story of the first phase. It is pretty much done for me. I'm done with Marvel movies after that. I'm not watching any more of them because it's bullshit. So he does this thing where he gaslights everyone into thinking that, oh no, I didn't lie. He didn't step aside. He sacrificed himself. It doesn't fucking matter. He got sidelined. You killed this motherfucker off in the first goddamn episode. And then, like Mr. H Reviews said, yesterday I tried to record this second time after watching Mr. H Reviews talk about it. And he said at this point, well, what about the point that you said? No, but actually what he said was, he made a great point after he talks about, he sacrificed himself. Tila's reaction to his sacrifice completely undermines He-Man's sacrifice. The fact that she made it about her, the fact that she made it about, I can't trust you, pack of liars, you can all go fuck yourselves, I'm leaving, and you have to follow her as the new lead, and she's angry at the motherfucker who sacrificed himself to save the universe, you've completely destroyed his sacrifice. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Because she's pissed off at him. She's belittling him. They having flashbacks where they're laughing at this motherfucker and his puns. Now, the thing about He-Man, it's been I haven't watched He-Man in, since I was a kid. Years. But one of the things I've never forgotten, and I don't know the episode title or anything, one of the greatest, funniest lines, jokes or whatever, was He-Man's fighting this dude. And he whooped his ass. And at the end of the episode, the guy tells him, it wasn't Skeletor, some other guy. And he was like, "You haven't heard the last of me, He-Man." And He-Man goes, "Oh, you're going to write to me from the prison mines." And he actually probably said it like, "What? Oh, how sweet. You're going to write to me from the prison mines." Which, I've always loved that. Now, you see that situation all the time, especially, 80s, 90s, you see the villain going, "You haven't heard the last of me." And no one's ever just snapped back going, yeah, when you get to the mines, you can write me. And I think that was one of the things that's pretty much formed or informed my sense of humor.
You follow, classic literature, the hero's arc.
The hero's arc doesn't end at the first episode of a 10-episode show.
Sacrifice your life for some greater cause than yourself. No greater fucking sacrifice than that. So with us, we were like,
that's
okay,
not an arc.
We don't have the benefit of just resetting every episode. We're telling one long episode and whatnot. And let's try to tell a story about what happens when people who thought they knew things find out they were fucking lied to.
Who gives a shit? That's not even important. That's another thing. I'm sorry.
That everybody could see.
Okay, so that's another thing about this SJWs and the way that these female characters are written. When he says how people react when they're lied to. Who gives a shit? Like, why is it framed like his death means less than the fact that she found out something about him she didn't know. She didn't know his fucking secret identity. Like, what does that mean that a story has to be based on? You lied to me. It's like they take this. Okay, so like Last of Us 2. The way it's been retconned, the way that it's been, the story is framed to show, like basically to shit on Joel. And even to have Ellie at the very end put the guitar away, as a way of saying, like, putting Joel to rest. Like, not in a putting Joel to rest, I miss him, but basically saying, I'm letting go of Joel. He was a terrible influence on me. The whole idea, the reason why people, SJWs, don't care about what Abby did to Joel the way she did it is because Joel lied to Ellie. And they think that his head being bashed in by a fucking golf club, being tortured to death by someone he just finished saving. They think it's fine that he gets killed like that because he lied to Ellie. Now, in the first game, everybody understands okay to mean you love me, I love you, I know you're lying, but we need each other, and I do love you. Fine, I understand. I accept it. Now, of course, other people can, you could interpret it any other way, but that was really, pretty much everybody understood it to mean that. Everybody understand it because, they've formed this bond, they love each other. Ellie understood, even before Joel did, that she would likely have to die in order for this cure to work. So anyway, it's framed like that. Then, when the second game comes out, or right before it, all of a sudden, Neil Druckmann, I was about to say Neil Gaiman, he's another Neil who can go fuck himself these days though, Neil Gaiman. Neil Druckmann all of a sudden goes, the reason why Ellie went okay is because at that moment she realized that Joel was taking away her agency and she couldn't trust him and she couldn't rely on him anymore because he lied to her and he took her agency away. She's a fucking 14-year-old kid. She's a guardian. She's not even old enough to make that decision to give her life up. She wasn't old enough to give her butt up to anybody. And yet somehow she's supposed to be old enough to sacrifice her life for the dregs of humanity. Fuck off. She chose Joel to be her guardian. When he tried to get rid of her, she insisted this motherfucker take her to the end. So to change it and twist it and make it about, oh no, Joel was a man. He used his male privilege to save her life. So it's telling that this idiot, look at this fucking goofball. For him to go, it's a story about someone who's reacting to being lied to. When all they have to do is go, wow, he didn't tell me all this time. I thought he was a little goofball. Especially in this show, they pretty much, treat Adam like he was a little, I was about to say it, well, a twink. They treat him like he was a little feckless twink. So for her to go, wow, he had so much more. If I didn't know, I would have gave him some. But no, she's lesbian in this, so that's not even the case.
To me, maybe because I know the back five, and I'm in the back five. Like, the first five I haven't dealt with in months. They've been done and sitting there. We're still dealing with back five right now and stuff. But the point of the first five, of course, is to set up the next five. It's an art-driven story.
Would he have made a Superman movie or show?
When folks are...
That Superman kills
like,
himself
or
saves himself.
Like you fucking... What's the word?
Sacrifice himself at the first episode.
He-Man, I'm like, by
this twerk.
making him sacrifice himself?
I was talking too much. I hated his reaction at this point.
What's the word? Emasculated.
Shut up.
He-Man, I'm like, by making him sacrifice himself to save all of Eternia? Like, that's not side...
His reaction, the way he's talking, the way he's spreading this bullshit, he sounds like he was caught with a prostitute and he's trying to explain to his wife how unreasonable her reaction is. Like, do you really think that I would love this woman? She's just a prostitute. Like, why? There's no love. This is just a transaction. Like, why would you be upset with a transaction between two people? It's a business deal. I make business deals. And also, the money that I'm giving her will help her pay her way through college. I don't understand why you would...
Or he's not stepping aside. That's heroic. Like, That's
But
the
Tila
point of the
shits on
heroes.
that immediately right
He
after.
didn't go, too hot for me. Where's the exit? You know, it's like,
Exactly.
I also feel like to come to your defense, the thing that frustrates me so much about this like lie thing, right?
It's a lie.
Is that
You should be
people
frustrated
are
that he
coming up,
lied.
knocking on your door and saying like,
They weren't knocking
is
on
it
his
true
door.
that this happens in episode 4?
Nobody said that.
9 months before the show comes out.
Mhm.
Well, how are you supposed to answer that question? You want people to watch the
Don't
thing in
answer it
real
at
time. You
all.
wanna see
Ignore
the
it.
story
But
unfold.
nobody
You
knocked
wanna
on his
preload
door.
Those expectations. You gotta get tricky with your words to be able to weave around these traffic cones. And
I
it's
didn't,
like
I didn't even think I was tricky with the words. I literally said.
I literally
Tina
lied.
has no stepping
I think you
aside.
were- yeah.
She has a friend who's a girl, but not a girlfriend.
And she's a
She does
girlfriend.
not wield
She's
the sword
definitely a
of power.
girlfriend.
I'll just tell you right now.
Nobody
man,
said
like,
anything
this
about
stuff
sword of
on
power.
Netflix and be like, shut your fucking mouth. But she never wields a sword ever.
Nobody ever said that.
That's
Like, so everything
Yeah.
I said was like God's honest
Yes.
fucking truth.
No, it
And a bunch of
wasn't.
people were like, you better apologize for lying. I'm like, I didn't lie. All
You
of those
did
things
lie.
are fucking
Yeah, I didn't lie, honey.
It's
No.
like rolling up to George Lucas and going like, why haven't you acknowledged that Darth Vader is Luke's father? And he's like, it's 1975. Slow your roll. I haven't.
What
shot
are you
the first
talking
one
about?
yet."
Why would anybody be? This is what's so
Wait,
fucking stupid about that example is that it doesn't make any sense. Why would anybody? Of course, obviously, it's before Star Wars even came out, but no one went to Kevin Smith and said anything angrily. They just said, "Hey, we got a leak. According to the leak, it's this, and that." They didn't ask this motherfucker. This motherfucker just saw that shit and decided to respond to it himself. They didn't fucking knock on his door, and he wasn't angry about it. He wasn't demanding anything. They just said, "Hey, look, check it out. If it's like we think it is, and everybody knows the way the SJWs have been the past few years, the way they've been taking properties and shitting all over it. People like fucking Neil Druckmann took his own goddamn property and he shat on it. He had himself spit on fucking Joel because he's a fucking sociopath. And he's mad that people didn't like it. So this whole idea that, oh, why didn't you tell us that Darth Vader is Luke's father? That's nobody's talking about secrets. But why come you to expose the secret? People are just saying, hey, look, if He-Man steps aside and Tila is a lesbian with a girlfriend and she's the new star of the show, people are not gonna like it. That's it. That's what they said. So stop changing it and trying to be fake and make it act like people were just banging at his door saying, you better tell us if this is true or not. All he had to do really was just not say anything. He should have been like, okay, well, or just say, hey, look, just trust me. You're all going to love it when you see it.
Turn.
I feel. Look, the folks have been saying you apologize to Clownfish. Clownfish was the operation that our website and video show and stuff, whatever it is. And I'm not
Whatever it is.
dismissing it. I have to be
Yes,
so
you
fucking
are.
careful because anything I say, they're like, "You're attacking Clownfish," and I'm like, "Not at all. I've always been very fucking."
The thing is, I don't
kind."
even listen to watch
So
Clownfish,
regardless,
so it's not like I even care that much
Clownfish,
about
people
it.
are saying you lied to
About whatever
Clownfish,
he's saying
I
about them, but he
apologize.
was
And I
lying. He
honestly
did lie.
fucking believe
And that he pointed them
with
out.
my heart. I put my child's life on it. None of those things I said are fucking lies. They're all factual.
They're all lies.
I
They're all
will
lies,
apologize for leaning into it and tweeting and then hitting it again, tweeting
And
again
lying
later on,
and lying more.
simply to obfuscate from what I felt like was the thing I didn't want anyone to know. Same day that Clownfish's tweet goes up, there's some other tweet that said something to the effect, and again, we're spoiling the show, so hopefully everyone's seen it, that said something to the effect of, I hear they kill Adam in episode 1. So right then and there, I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're like fucking months away from this thing coming out. If this out, it's like, oh man, that's going to suck. And not because I'm like, oh, they'll all hate me and shit for emasculating He-Man. More because like, I just didn't want to spoil what was a cool thing.
Not only that,
It's
they're
so fucking full of shit. It's, this guy, he must have lost a lot when he lost the weight, because for him to actually say with a straight face that he would have been worried for people to pay attention to the fact that Prince Adam dies in the first episode, and that he wasn't concerned that people would be mad or felt like he emasculated He-Man or whatever, but it was such a cool thing. Who in their right fucking mind would think killing the main fucking character in the first... Oh, Neil Druckmann would. Sorry. And he got all the awards.
The
So let me
spoiler.
finish,
Oh,
finish.
yes,
Internet,
please,
remember?
please,
So,
yes, internet.
While I was sitting there going like, oh shit, they're going to start talking about this, over here is a conversation that I can address. Like, that's like where they're like, hey man, I hear He-Man steps
I'm
aside.
taking some ACV lately, so I might be a little
all the things I
burpy
said.
in the throat.
So I was
just
like,
ignore
I
that.
can answer this and maybe take attention away from this over here. And mercifully, that never got louder.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever knew. So that when the first episode played for people, they were surprised.
Yeah.
So I hope. I mean, some
Nobody was fucking
far too
surprised.
surprised and very vocal about it on Twitter. Which, like, again, I understand. Like, I'm a fan of things. I don't get that vocal if somebody does a thing that I don't care for and stuff like that. Like I love Twin Peaks. I didn't care for the Showtime sequel years later, but you didn't
Shows
see me on the
you.
net going, "What the fuck, David Lynch? You ruined my childhood."
Okay, again, he's got mental problems. But it also brings up an interesting point about how a property can change and evolve, and how fans will go with it if it's done right, and if it's done intelligently, and if it's done, it's not an SJW bullshit fest. David Lynch continued his own show, so for him to be like, "You ruined my childhood," now, actually, I said that doesn't make any sense because fucking Neil Druckmann continued his own video game with Last of Us Part 2. I guess the main difference, though, is that he got his stupid ideas got shot down because he didn't direct the first one. So it's not that different. But Lynch surpassed the first 2 seasons with The Return. So for him to say, "You ruined my child," like, nobody's going to believe, like, nobody cares. Like, if he said anything when the show was out, like, "I'm really not feeling this," they would have dragged his ass for filth like they're dragging him now. Like, I don't even understand how you could say that. Episode 8 in particular is the greatest hour of fictional television in history. There's nothing on that level. There's nothing that has that sort of hyper-evolutionary power to transform the way stories can be told. I mean, people are not going to follow that because they don't have the bravery. They don't actually want people to get more imaginative. They just want to give people slop, and they just want you to keep accepting the slop. This guy doesn't give a shit about He-Man. I don't even know why they fucking hired him to do it. I mean, I guess he was the ambassador for, everyday fans. I know some people seem to think that he was like the lord of fans, and like everybody saw him that way. I never saw him that way. I actually like Dogma. I like Red State. I like Green Arrow, although I only just remember that I like it. I recently bought it again on Comixology because all the Green Arrows were on sale for like $2 because of the 80-year anniversary. So I haven't reread them yet, and I probably won't for a while because the stink that this guy has been admitting, in the atmosphere now. But I actually was concerned when he had the heart attack. I was like, man, you gotta stay healthy. I mean, I think he's a chummy guy. I enjoyed his Fat Man on Batman, particularly the one with Grant Morrison. It was a lot, great conversation. He got a lot from Morrison. But this here, I don't know why they hired somebody who clearly doesn't like He-Man, and who thinks that sacrifice of Orko will make Orko more important for fans, when fans never said there was a problem with Orko. But like, what? No, they don't look at Orko like Jar Jar. Come on, stop it.
And shit like that. It's just like, generally for me, you'll never hear about the shit that I don't like. That's just kind of the way like I operate and stuff. But as a fan of things, I
okay, so
understand.
Twin Peaks, I went off. So the thing is, none of the fans hooped and hollered about anything that Lynch did with Twin Peaks, because Twin Peaks: The Return is very much on brand, and like I said, it takes everything to the nth degree. Although, I mean, I can say maybe you could be like, I wanted more Dale Cooper, and me personally, I went to see more Shelley. Not Shelley, Audrey Horne. I wanted to see more of her. So that was, I could say maybe if somebody just said I didn't see enough Audrey Horne and I didn't see enough Dale Cooper. I wish Dale didn't spend most of his time as I can't think of his name now. My brain's melted, but it just says a lot that he goes, "Oh, I didn't care for Twin Peaks to return, but I didn't say anything about it." Fuck you. I mean, if you didn't like it, you should have said something about it. You know, you'd be able to drag your ass and called you a fake fan. Because that's something about him. One of the reasons why I never put him on a high pedestal, although I thought, I have fondness for him or whatever, up to a degree, for a while, for years, was he would always say stupid things. Like he was talking about Watchmen, Snyder's Watchmen, when it came out. And he was arguing in favor of the alley fight and the fact that Silk Spectre and Night Owl were killing those fucking hoods, the knot tops, in the alley. And he was like, well, you have to pump things up, because when the book first came out back in the 80s or whatever, it was only so far they could go. Now, people are more jaded, more cynical. You have to pump it up, so you have to kill people. But it's like, if that's the point, or that's the case rather, what's the point of Rorschach then? Why do they complain about Rorschach and they stay away from Rorschach for being a killer? It's because he's unhappy when he kills people? Or he's unhappy after he's killed people? Is that the only difference? Like, Night Owl and Silk Spectre can kill people joyfully in an alley, and there's nothing wrong with them. But Rorschach's unhappy, so when he kills people, it's different. So he's a moron. Or just low level. He only thinks so far. Even though he's talked to people like Grant Morrison and he's watched stuff like fucking The Return, but he doesn't get anything out of it. It's like he's only can take things so far. So for him to say the people will love the fact that Tila is the new star of the show, and that her quest is she's pissed off at the fact that the guy who sacrificed himself to save the universe lied to her, and lied by omission. He just never told her who the fuck he was.
People like, it's not what I fucking wanted it to be and stuff, and that's absolutely fair.
But that's not the way.
I'm a man of
That's
peace.
absolutely fair. It's not what it is.
So irritating.
When people are saying it's not what they're supposed to be, this is fucking He-Man. It was made for boys, and now the new show is made for the boys who grew up, still have a nostalgia, interest in it. They'll still buy the toys because we're geeks or whatever. And so you make a show where it's fucking He-Man. Whether you drop the name from Masters of the Universe Revelation, you don't put He-Man in it, nobody's going to sit there and say, I'm ready to watch it because see, I did it again. Because Tila is now in charge. And it's not an issue of Tila being in it. It's her supplanting fucking He-Man. If he made a movie or a TV show about Superman, he wouldn't have Superman kill himself in the first episode to sacrifice everybody, and then have Lois Lane find out that this motherfucker was Superman, and then the whole show is about her being pissed off that Clark Kent never told her who he really was. And then she becomes a lesbian, and her and Lana, no, it just has to be a black woman. Well, Lana is redhead, so they would change Lana to a black woman. And so her and Lana are just, going across the countryside, spray painting Superman symbols throughout the country or something. And then we find out that she's really afraid of the fact that, if she drank a certain serum, she would be more powerful than Superman ever was. And it's just her great fear that she can't express that much power.
To me, that this is going on, that there is a contingency of people. And mind you, like we're talking about it like it's everything and stuff. It's a very vocal contingency that I pointed out. Like at one point, I talked to my Netflix friends, and I was like,
"This is one of the shittier parts of all
like,
this.
Are we in trouble?" And they were very kind, and this is not meant to mock anybody, but they were like, "Kevin, do you think we decide to pick up other
Look at this fucking
shows
hand
based on the audience rating of Rotten Tomatoes?"
We're not here to
And I was like, "You
mock
don't?"
anyone.
And they're like, "Fuck no." And
this watercress
so
sandwich
at that
eating
point,
bastards.
Like, it didn't matter. And then
okay, so that's the thing again.
Like,
I'm gonna let him finish this first. I'm gonna let this motherfucker finish.
I don't. This ain't me being smarmy. I know someone's gonna.
He's
believe
very,
otherwise
very
like that.
smarmy.
This is just me being honest. If you don't like something, kids, don't fucking talk about it. Yeah. Because when you draw attention to it, somebody else goes, "What's that?" So there was an article that
Nobody
went up,
fucking
articles,
cares.
right? The one I saw is on.
Nobody fucking cares. Nobody gives two shits. In the chat, when this stupid fucking podcast first started, the fucking moderator, he looked like he was prickly looking like this motherfucker Newman. The fucking moderator said to everybody, "If y'all don't stop it, you bad apples, I'm gonna stop the chat." What did everybody in chat do? They were like, "Go fuck yourself. You fuck Kevin Smith. Fuck the stupid Tila show. You can all go fuck yourself. They just kept going. And so he said, that's it. I'm disabling the chat. He disabled the chat. That didn't stop him. They just started commenting in the video. They started downvoting the fucking video. Everybody went on Twitter and started talking shit. The fans don't give a shit whether or not his conversation with Netflix went, Kevin, do you think that we care about Rotten Tomatoes and we pick shows based on that? I mean, our stocks are going into the toilet, but do you think we give a shit what the fans think about this show? We've already paid you money. What now can we do? Go fuck yourself. Fans like to talk shit. They don't care. They will go to Rotten Tomatoes and they will talk shit about the fucking show. Rotten Tomatoes will freeze all the negative reviews. They'll just go somewhere else and talk shit about it. They don't fucking care if Netflix cares or not. They're not trying to get Netflix to change the fucking show. They already know it's too late, but they're going to talk shit about it.
Up Rocks, and there's a few other sites that talked about how we were review bombed, which is a practice where a bunch of people like fucking...
Where a bunch of people say this show fucking sucks, so we're going to tell everybody it fucking
like,
sucks.
Hey man, fucking you only got bad reviews because it sucks. This is not review bombing and shit.
Exactly.
These, bots. These are real fucking people. And
Eat my
Exactly.
butthole.
Yes. I like.
Shut
I get
the
it.
fuck up.
I'll happily eat your butthole. I was not saying
All
that.
you had to do was ask.
Yeah.
Ask kindly.
Totally. Right there.
Fucking Flavor Flav.
But this was
Cocksucking
you know,
corporate
like,
dick mouths.
all that butthole talk really distracted me.
Sorry.
Um,
You're hungry. You've been
I
fasting
am.
for a week.
I'm ready
yeah.
to eat a fucking butthole after 160 fucking hours. What were we talking about?
The review bombing, putting attention on a thing you
Yes.
don't like. Yes.
Yeah.
Streisand
So-
effect.
This is not Streisand effect
Yeah.
because nobody's trying to hide it. They're literally talking shit about it.
Talking about this review bombing. I have nothing to do with the articles.
Review bombing is not trying to hide it. Review bombing is telling everybody. What the fuck are they talking about?
Boys and Captain Marvel. Many people were very quick to point out they only did this to the boys because they were putting out one episode a week. And Captain Marvel, like, why would you compare yourself? to
Not
that?
watch The
Those
Boys
are
because
two,
of the gender
fucking
bending.
rocks are standing on your fucking shit like that.
Though I probably will
when
read it
people hate
because
a
Garth
thing, they
Ennis,
fucking find a way to defeat you.
wrote some of the greatest
Point.
stories in The Preacher and
And
Hellblazer.
so I didn't. They were acting like I said that we'd been review bombed. I was literally fucking quoting an article that was.
They weren't acting like that. They were just pointing out what a
that
prick you
review
are, putting your
bombing thing,
little tiny
like,
foot up
it was so weird
with the
because
Skeletor shoe,
I've
trying to
been
talk
a
shit about,
witness
well,
to
we're
it from
fine
outside
about not being
in other cases. I remember when that happened.
Review
in the Boys, and I
bombed.
was like, how strange.
How
And
strange.
when it
I'm a
happened to
fan. I
Captain
don't
Marvel,
understand how that
you know,
works.
never did I thought we'd be at the epicenter of it, but there we were instead. And so naturally, I was like, "Oh my God, what does this mean? Like, is it gonna bum anybody out, or are we gonna fucking be in trouble?" And the folks upstairs, like, put it on Front Street, and this is not me being a dick. Man.
He
This is
doesn't-
just me
He has to
commenting,
know. He has to know this is all
like how
bullshit.
counterproductive it is to go
Counterproductive
all in
to what?
against something you hate. Their reaction was like, "Kevin, this is amazing for the show."
Okay.
And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, but all these people are mad. They were like, yes, it looks like about 5,000 to 10,000 people have written nasty things. And they were like, but we have 210 million subscribers. And I was like, oh, so mathematically we're safe? They're like, safe as kittens.
Yeah,
So-
okay. Now remember, their
So,
stocks are
like, you
dropping.
can
So
do it. And I ain't trying to stifle anybody's freedom of speech. Absolutely, go ahead and stuff. But it won't do what you think it's going to do.
what does this prick think it's going to do? Like, what does he think that they actually want to do? Review bombing isn't trying to stop people from watching a show or a movie. Review bombing is very loud. So they call it review bombing by just saying people didn't watch it. They just all ran and hired bots or created bots to do it. When it clearly is a reaction to telling you, this fucking sucks. I'm gonna make sure everybody knows I think this sucks. It doesn't mean people are not don't watch it. They'll tell you not to watch it if you don't want to waste your time and get pissed off. But they already know it's likely going to be successful in one way or another. It may not get any more successful. Look at Captain Marvel. The next Captain Marvel that comes out is going to be called The Marvels. Because despite what they said it being so successful, it's not well regarded as a movie. It just isn't. So he's basically telling people, don't complain, because when you complain, it's going to make more people watch the show. And so if you're concerned about that, why are you telling us? Anybody who's angry about it, so I didn't review bomb it because I don't care like that much. I didn't even watch it. I believe what people said, and I saw clips. I'm laughing because I can't believe the clip. I think was Common Megan Rod. I don't know, Megan Common. I'm sorry, I'm messing this poor guy's name up. Common Manga Writer. I don't know his fucking name. I've just watched him a couple of times recently. And today he did a video, and he seems kind of like a reasonable guy. So I said, I'm going to watch him because I watch a lot of the loud reactionary people like myself when they talk about things like that. But let me see what he says. And he fucking ripped it to shreds. He ripped it to shreds. Like me, so I'm not even a big fan of this shit. But when you see how it was marketed and you see what this motherfucker said, and then you actually watch the show, and he watched it, and he had clips, and I saw the clip of Tila going full Karen on the royal court, being mad about, you're all a pack of liars. And then they had this cut where she turned her face to the side and said, and so is him. I was like, this doesn't look real. This doesn't look like anybody would take this seriously. It would look like a parody. And I'm thinking maybe it is a parody, but it can't be. It can't be because nobody would spend that much time to create it.
Two like them was like, oh my God, this is a bad thing. And they were intending to do that. And I'm not saying it's a nefarious plot or bots and shit, but
You are
all
saying
the
that.
people like it's a little suspect that are, we're what is it called? Fucking certified
Suspect.
fresh, and then our audience rating is like in the toilet and shit.
Right.
But
All right.
So
he's basically saying that because a bunch of media hacks gave it a fresh rating, and the fans review bombed it, that there's a disconnect between it. He's saying that, wow, all these critics really loved it. So it's strange that the actual fans who told me right out that I want the show to be about He-Man. I don't want to see Tila acting like a cunt and being a lesbian and completely change her character and have her shitting on He-Man throughout the whole show. I don't want to see a show about the men getting shit on while the women just beat up everybody without even using weapons. They took, Snake Mountain, and they made Snake Mountain they bitch. They didn't have any weapons or anything. Just ran there and just throwing people around like Lou Ferrigno as Hercules.
just so everyone doesn't say like he thinks it's a fucking conspiracy. I'm not saying that. That's what I read. I don't know what to think at this point and shit like that. But I do know this much. Based on what I was told by the people that like pay my salary,
people who pay my salary, the people whose dicks I suck.
Like they literally don't care. Somebody did send me tweets where like I was on Comic Book Men one season.
Again, like I said, this whole thing about they don't care. Fans are not complaining because they think Netflix cares. Fans don't give two fucking shits. They are talking shit. That's it. That's all they're doing. And they're letting your bitch ass know because you keep trying to tell us that Netflix don't care. But motherfucker, you care because you've been spending now. This podcast was supposed to be celebrating Fat Man Beyond, He-Man Beyond Revelations with Kevin Smith and this bitch ass Griffin Newman. Instead of sitting there talking about how excited you are about the show, you're sitting there telling everybody how much the fans who are review bombing it are wrong. I didn't lie. Netflix doesn't care. If the people pay my salary, they're more important to you. And they said this is great for the show.
Big He-Man fan and shit like that. And they're like, aha! Like, as if Netflix was going to be like, Kevin, you should have told us.
Okay, so he's doing that shit again.
Season. And I was like, yeah, I was a big He-Man fan and shit like that. And they're like, aha! Like, as if Netflix was going to be like, Kevin, you should have told us.
All right, so this is another gaslight thing. So, people pointed out that Kevin Smith is not a He-Man fan. One of the reasons why they did that was because they were catching him in lies. So people were pointing out that he's saying that Clownfish is not telling the truth. But just listening to the way Clownfish said, hey, look, looks like He-Man's going to step aside, Tila's going to be in charge, Tila's going to have a girlfriend. That sounds exactly like The Last of Us Part 2. That sounds exactly like The Last of Us Jedi. That sounds exactly like pretty much any Marvel comic since 2015, 2016 or so. So everybody goes, oh, this tracks. It's probably going to be this. Is this going to be fucking bullshit if it is? He gets up there and goes, no, it's not that at all. No, it's not. And then somebody goes, hey, look, let's catch him in another lie. Motherfucker said he was a big fan of He-Man. But look at this tweet. He said he wasn't a big fan. Look at the clip from this fucking show. He said he wasn't a big fan. He says when people said that it meant they're going to go to Netflix and tell Netflix, he wasn't a fan of the show, why did you hire him? So he's talking about like Netflix is going to say, why didn't you tell us? We would expect Netflix not to give a shit about who's running this show and to hire somebody who doesn't care about the show. The whole point is, we're just catching your bitch ass in a lie.
There's the door, like that shit doesn't like matter to anybody who writes a fucking check or something like that. So
Yeah.
you can,
Of course, that's what everybody expects. That
by all means. I was 20 once, and I fucking hated things as well. So and
now I just cry over every little fucking thing.
Come at me on Twitter. My Twitter stream is like honestly, but 95% love fest.
Of course it is.
Amazing.
Twitter is who. Twitter
establishes
establishes all this SJW bullshit. Everybody appeases Twitter by doing this shit, and this is because all the fucking people who left Tumblr to go to Twitter.
Long tweets about how I ruined it and stuff like that. Long thoughtful tweets. So in that stream, it's still positive. Like it's
of course it's like, Twitter. This is what. Okay, the reason why Marvel is as shitty as it is because all their staff, for the most part, is on Twitter, virtue signaling one another, being performative about LGBTQ rights, race rights, and all this shit, equality, and then they go get paid $50 a comic book to write shit about how Storm doesn't want Captain America calling her Aurora. I don't think Captain America would ever call her Aurora. He would call her Storm. But they have to make a point of him saying Aurora so she could say, call me Storm. The X-Men are bad guys now. And to these stupid fucking SJWs, that's them being at their highest level.
Me going like, oh my God, this Uproxx article, and reaching out to the powers that be. The moment that they were like, oh, what are you doing? Like, don't worry about it. Suddenly I got to kick back and like literally enjoy what's going on. I mean, we worked real hard to pull this
You were
together.
Sweating bullets this morning when I showed up at the stash,
Yeah.
and I said like, look, I'm reading fucking everything against my therapist's suggestion.
That's what I gotta get. Somebody in my life who's like, why are you reading?
That's also not true. My therapist retired years ago, which is why I'm reading the comments. but I said like, look, man, I'm reading all of it, and most of it is so positive.
It's Twitter, of course. They want
positive,
lesbian,
exactly.
manly-looking
And then we
women
got to spend
to
the day
shit
there
on
actually,
the
after
formerly
the pandemic, coming face to
male
face with
leads.
people and having them really say what they,
At the Revelation celebration of the
yes,
stash.
plug. But that's stuff.
You can't plug something that's sold out.
I can plug things. No, because people listening to this in the future, they've invented time travel, and they're like, I'll go back, go get a ticket for
Could
that.
you imagine? That would mean we might have time travelers in this
I know
audience
that.
as well.
Yeah, but that would be cool.
Anybody here kill baby Hitler?
I'll say,
I'm a man who's like,
congrats. Thank you, Mazel. I'm Jewish. I can make the joke.
Anybody can make that joke.
The thing I was gonna say, this is once again, people allowed to dislike the thing, allowed to
But
criticize it. Absolutely, right?
This is
the
one of
thing
the
that bugs
shittier
me
parts about it.
is a lot of the sentiment I have seen. The negative sentiment comes with this tinge of like, why did you waste your time doing this or putting this in the show? Real fans don't care about that, right? And inevitably, a lot of that stuff will circle back to the presence of female characters, or people of color, or certain subject themes, or this or that.
there were certain hot buttons for
Right.
a lot of people.
Haircuts.
Tila, of course, is one.
People furious about haircuts.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh man, that's like ripped off." I was like, "Yeah."
Nobody's talking about it being
He's
ripped
going
off.
From, Kylo.
All right, so here we go. This goofball. They always do this, and I see it on Twitter all the time. Of course, everybody sees it. Everybody who knows. Once you see, this is how it works. This motherfucker will lie and say, the leak that you heard about He-Man being sidelined and Tila taking over the show and having a gay lover, that's not true. Don't worry. Then, when people find out when they fucking see the show that he was lying, they then go and review, well, they say review, they go leave their feedback on Rotten Tomatoes. Then you have some shitty SJW website, and almost all of them are, You have like comic book resources, a Polygon, a Kotaku, or wherever. I think in this case, I think it was, well, he said Up Rocks, but I think I saw CBR comic book resources do it too. They're a bunch of pricks over there. But so CBR puts out a tweet or an article saying, "Angry He-Man fans review bomb the new He-Man show, Masters of the Universe," or whatever. So then you have pricks who just sit on Twitter all day. They're not fans of He-Man. They're not fans of sci-fi or fantasy, or they don't have a nostalgia for this, these formerly kid shows or whatever. I saw one guy, he was a fucking... It wasn't cool like a mathematician. He was some guy with a suit and tie. He had a whole thread where all he was doing was insulting the fans by saying they were a bunch of babies. It's like they act like all these white guys run into a room and start yelling. So they make it sound like they're losing their minds. When all it has to be is one individual person looks at the show, watches 2 or 3 episodes, or just gets as far as Tila making Adam's death about her, and they go, fuck this shit. They go to Rotten Tomatoes and say, this fucking shit sucks. Downvote. But then it's framed as if they're yelling and hollering and that they're like attacking people in the streets, when it's a collective of people and all of their ratings are being counted, and you act like it's just yeah, and no, people just go, this is fucking shit, just like I thought. He lied. Fuck him. They frame it in this way that, oh, they're angry because Tila, a woman, is the star of the show, and they're angry because you can't fuck her now because she's got big arms, and they don't like women with big arms. They want to see her breasts. They want to see her ass. And they're not, they don't like women unless they look good or something, right? So all of this then becomes these social justice issues where it's like, you can't define what Tila is. Tila is a woman, and you better stop being misogynist. Women can lead shows just as well as a man. And so no one pays attention to the fact that the fans simply said, hey, look, show's supposed to be about He-Man. He-Man was for boys, She-Ra was for girls. You already had 3 seasons of She-Ra, you fucked that up. Don't now give us a fucking He-Man show, get rid of He-Man in the first episode, and then have this fucking cunt version of Tila. Because you could have had Tila just be fucking Tila, and people would have still been upset because it's not. People would have said, okay, I like Tila, but she should not be the star of the fucking show. She could be in it. She could be helping He-Man. It could have been He-Man and Tila travel to Snake Mountain and whoop everybody's ass. Nobody would have had a problem with that. But what they did was they killed He-Man on the first episode. They made his so-called sacrifice meaningless because Tila bitched and moaned about it. She ran off, got a little negress lesbian lover, and then she's still shitting on the guy who's dead. And then she's shitting on her dad. And when people complain about how these things are implemented, they pretend that, oh, you just don't like women. Everybody loves Sorceress. Everybody loves Tila. Evelyn was a baddie. But now, because they've put them in these roles where they're shitting on the male characters, and like I said, the tables always turn. They're not equal to each other. They're just shitting on each other. And then this stupid thing about fucking Skeletor being an insult to me. Look at my face. It means I can't get ass. If Skeletor wants ass, he gets ass. He was already probably fucking Evelyn all this time anyway. But I always thought he was gay, so.
On Supergirl.
Yeah,
she did that to her hair one year. I was like, no, let's wicked. Let's do that.
Yeah,
now I dated
awesome.
A girl with the hairstyle like
but
that.
Yes,
she's
always framed
kind of like Cassie.
That's not
though.
what the real fans care about. Why are you doing this stuff that's going to go wasted on real fans? And the thing I really don't like, and I say this as non-antagonistically as possible, is fans defining which fans count.
Well, see, I hate when they do that too. That's another thing. Because what they're saying is, they don't say real fans. What they're saying is fans versus people on Twitter who just like, they don't care about the show. They just like, if you say to somebody who doesn't give a shit about E-Man, they're just on Twitter. If you say to them, fans are angry about the new He-Man cartoon. Really? Why? Because they killed He-Man, and then they made the formerly just co-star, the woman, they made her the lead, and she's got her own storyline, and she's strong, and she's capable, and she even has a black friend, and they don't like the fact that her friend is black. That person will go, never saw He-Man, they won't go, oh, I mean, it is kind of weird that they killed He-Man and made this girl in charge. Why did they do that? They just go, you know what? Good, it's time, because there's always been too many shows with blonde guys as the leads. So it's good that they made this other girl be the new... I told you it was a little bilious because of this ACV I'm taking. But she's like, or this person's like, oh, yeah, good. Have the woman be in charge. It really pisses them off. I've noticed every time I've seen a movie with a female lead, they always complain and they call it woke. And we need more of that. Then they go off run about their business, don't watch the show, just retweet people saying He-Man fans are angry about a woman leading He-Man. and there's no consciousness. Nobody goes, it is kind of weird that the show that's supposed to be about He-Man has killed He-Man in the first episode and is now about one of the female co-leads.
Has had all these different things. I was saying.
So this isn't about real fans.
The first stuff written for Motu was the mini comics that came with the figures because they didn't have a show on the air yet.
Yep.
And when the show comes out, they negate a lot of the stuff in the mini comics. And you see fans online who go, once they started the cartoons, the thing was over for me. Right? I was out. Then they ruined the character.
Really?
I liked him better when he was a barbarian, went and met a green lady and she gave him a harness. Yeah. Right? That was for me.
That is the mini comic.
Right, that's the last time He-Man was good for me. And then there are people who go, it ends when Filmation. I only like the 2000 X version. I like the comics. I like this. I like that. Right? People like it for different reasons. And different people like it for different reasons. And these people...
And some people, there are a lot of people who seem mad at us who were big fans of the Mike Young production 2002 version. They're like, you fucked that up. And I'm like, but we didn't...
So he's doing this thing again where he's deflecting. He's trying to act like that the fans are just sort of...
And then you realize...
confused about what they like or don't like.
Right,
no, any Masters of the Universe is about who the lead is. The lead is fucking He-Man. Stop trying to deflect the stupid bullshit.
People who are hosting podcasts and doing fan art and doing cosplay and writing the bios on the back of the action figures are people who are part of the communities that you're saying don't matter and don't count.
That's not what they're fucking saying. That's not what they're fucking saying.
Work on these things themselves, built the building blocks of the things you're loving in the first place, have played these roles, have written these parts, have done this.
That's not what they're fucking saying. They're saying you're SJW in this bullshit, and you're trying to appeal to Twitter.
They're not real fans.
They're not, because
you're a real fan. I'm not going to tell you you're not a real fan just because
anybody who says I don't.
That's your choice. You're a real fan.
It's always
Tila should be the main lead in He-Man.
People dressed like stormtroopers going, look at those fucking jerks dressed like Vulcans.
Right.
See the look on his face right there.
But
yeah, I just saw this clip on Twitter. This guy was some little blonde guy, some like little teenager, was messing with this couple, also teenagers. Girl was about to go into like a store or something. This little dyed blonde haired guy ran up to her, held the door open, and said, "I just want to tell you." And this dude was wearing like overalls. The boyfriend of this girl. This guy is telling this guy's girlfriend, "I want to tell you, the moment I saw you, I just fell in love with you." And he was doing a bit. The guy with the overalls he put his smoothie down, and he hauled off and knocked the fucking shit out of the guy who's doing this little game.
It's tribal. I've always gotten that. And
yeah.
Going into this, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like I've always felt like, oh my God, everyone will love this. Like it's so.
Why? Why would everybody love you killing He-Man and making it about Tila, who shits on He-Man for the rest of the fucking series?
By myself was predicated on shit other people did years and years ago. So there was very little creativity involved. There was very much taking all the assets and all the
very little creativity,
something fairly new and stuff. So like in doing that, I had a lot of help. The Powerhouse Animation kids, our directors Pat and Adam, writers in and of themselves.
I know
How
people
much
love the
they added
animation
to
or
the
said that
show.
animation was great.
So,
It looks pretty
this
good, but I
ain't
don't
just me
like
going
Tila's
like,
design.
I like what I do.
I
So
hate what
thought
she was
everyone else
wearing.
would.
You know,
But
she
I
looks. It
felt
looked
like
better
the
her
first
old
time in my
costume.
career, like I made something that more than Kevin Smith fans would enjoy. And I was like,
Her
wow,
angry,
it works. And
shitty
like, I
face.
think
Like
it's gonna play.
that's another thing with
And
the women.
it's
They always gotta
doing
look
that,
angry. It's
for a lot of
obnoxious.
people, but some people it's not doing that
Yeah.
for it. But
Tila had such a
you
sweet
know,
face, but when
in
an
my
SJW looks at her,
child's
they look at her
heart,
like,
I
oh,
hope
she's
that it
weak.
would've
So what
blanketed
the fuck do they
everything. I hope it
expect
would've
then? If
made
women
people
don't look
happy.
like
I
this fake
never
version of
once tried to
Tila,
be
so
fucking
we're supposed to
divided in
look
my
at
career.
women
It's
who have a
like a
sweet
running
face
joke in
like
my
Tila and
fucking career.
go,
I've been doing this
she's
shit
shit. She's not a
27
strong
years.
woman. I can do whatever.
And
I
then I
can walk
wind up
all over
doing
her.
shit that
She's
like
not. I
makes
can't. I don't have to
people
take her
mad,
seriously.
and it's not my intention. There's some people that are provocateurs who like go out of their way to fucking piss the audience off and stuff like that. I'm so not that guy, man. I'm just like fucking like I'm a stoner. I'm like I don't want no fucking hassle and shit.
He clearly
And my
didn't
whole
like
career, like shit will happen.
Adam.
because, you know, like fucking
Keeps making fun of
J.C.
him in this
Amy, some
fucking.
people got mad.
Dogma. Yeah,
A lot of fucking people got mad.
Yeah.
and shit.
That's
I
not
would make
fans
that
who are
threat.
mad that he ruined their
Jersey
childhood,
Girl,
though.
oddly enough, a lot of fucking people got mad. Fucking
He's
yoga
mixing
hosts,
two
like,
things.
Periodically, Mallrats, even some people got mad. People that love
People that get
Clerks
mad, people
were
just
like,
said it
"Fuck
sucked.
this Mallrats. Maybe we put you where you are, and this is what you make. Fuck that. So there's
That's not being
no matter
mad.
what you intend, like
They're
I have the
criticizing
purest
him.
intentions for Masters of the Universe. Like you'll wind up hitting people who are like, you suck. But this is one of those moments that links up with the other big you suck moments in my career. Now,
No,
some of
see,
those
he's
moments
treating
turned
it
out later on.
like it's all
and it
one and the
sucked so
same.
hard.
It's
Like,
not.
Mallrats, they came after me hard going, this sucks, particularly the critics. And 10 years later,
sequel.
exactly.
Right.
But that's
10 years
not the
later,
same
The
thing.
audience found it and fell in love with it. Shit.
Nobody's going to see this and go, wow,
So
He-Man
I
is
know
led
I've
by
been doing
a
this long
gay.
enough to know like this will
Tila.
absolutely pass. I know there's some people that some people sent screenshots of I've canceled my Netflix subscription and shit like that.
Right, it's like, good luck watching Bridgerton now. You're only hurting yourself. What are you going to talk about around the office? Come on.
I don't know what
blame
Bridgerton
yourself.
is. I know I think it's some black guy in it,
you
and it's
know,
like fantasy with black
there's
people in it or
5
something. I
more
don't know.
to go. Hopefully, when they see the people that see them, people that enjoy it will enjoy it even more. And then hopefully the people who are like, this isn't what I wanted, will be like, now this is what I'm fucking talking about. But there will always be, I feel like, a contingency of people that are like, no, this is not it for me.
Yeah.
So I've gotten like the single best.
We'll see. He fucked up
reviews
the
of
first
my career.
5
I
so
get
much
certified
that
fucking
it's hard to
frustrated.
believe
I'm not
people are
together.
gonna.
That never happens.
forgive
with
it.
Kevin Smith shit whatsoever. But oddly enough, if you look
Well,
over
because
the
you know
audience
what he
score, it's
did?
like the worst of my career and stuff.
Well,
So,
of course he got high ratings because look at Last of Us Part 2. The reason why it's Last of Us Part 2 is so highly rated and so highly awarded is because it shits on the fans and the fans hate it. And that's absolutely what these pieces of shit love. These fucking media hacks love when you piss the fans off. So that's the first thing they fucking did. Was when they saw that Tila was fucking shitting on everybody and talking about Adam betrayed me. He's a pack of liars like you are. They started orgasming. Oh God, this is absolutely Tila's show. The fans are gonna fucking hate this shit. 5 stars, unqualified 5 stars. So to him to act like, wow, it's really odd that, you know, the critics like it, but the fans don't. You should look at yourself in the mirror and wonder why. Fucking
you
idiot.
know, and one neither truly tells the story, I guess.
Nah, it tells
Truth
the
is
story.
somewhere in between.
No, it's not in
But
between.
I know it's being watched a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
It's exciting. It's
Bam.
exciting. I mean,
Who the fuck is this? Gilbert
Bam's in
Blythe
here,
from
man.
Princess
Just here
Edward
on
Island.
Spam.
oh, hey there.
Looking like
I
fucking
just wanna
Billy
put out
Corgan's
there
son.
That, you know, there's 130
Fucking hate this guy.
other episodes of Masters of the Universe that people can watch if they don't like your 5.
Go fuck
You
yourself,
didn't go
Gilbert
and take their
Blythe.
DVDs away. I went through this as
What is
a
this-
big Star Wars fan when they.
What is this-
Disney-
What is this fucking argument? What is this argument about? You still have the old ones. You're selling this shit on our nostalgia. You're selling this shit on our fandom. You fucking destroy it and then tell us we didn't take away the shit you already have. You didn't add anything to it. We wanted you to add to it. This is the fucking 23rd century. I don't know what century this is anymore. You've got better graphics. You've got better art teams. You've got more sophisticated writing. We want to see you develop this shit more. Not decide to kill fucking Prince Adam in the first goddamn episode and then give us gay fucking Tila bitching about everything for the rest of the goddamn show. Shut the fuck. And
Erased the expanded universe.
Sitting there
and I was
putting
like,
out diss tracks.
My Timothy Zahn book is still on the
fuck
shelf. I
and
can go
Shirley.
read it. They didn't come here and take it. You know. So like
I had to rewind back. Some stupid thing popped up that shouldn't have been popping up across
I
the
just want to
screen.
put
So
out there that
I've already complained
there's
about this guy.
130
But I don't want this
episodes of Masters
stupid
of
ass
the Universe
weird
that people
pop-up
can
to
watch if
show
they
up
don't
on
like
the-
Year 5. You didn't go and take their DVDs away. I went through this as a big Star Wars fan when Disney erased the expanded universe, and I was like, my Timothy Zahn book is still on the shelf. I can go read it. They didn't come here and take it. You know.
Hey,
so like, I'm
stupid.
sure in those 100 and
You fucking idiot. Do you want them to make more stories based on the extended universe? Or are you happy with the shit you already read and reread? Don't you want more of that shit?
30 episodes, there were some episodes that people didn't like, and you just don't rewatch them. You know, there's a ton of He-Man out there, and that's awesome.
We just don't need any more, I guess. Now
Well,
it's just
like,
we want
you
Tila.
know, it's like anything else. Like,
Go
it's
fuck
not
yourself,
mine, I didn't
dude.
create it.
Alright, that's my cue to
If
get
you
the
don't
fuck
like
out of
this
here.
iteration of